Well, the movie felt like it lasted 5 minutes. I mean, that's how I felt. And then also, the sign of a good, I don't know if you want to call it a sports movie, but a sign of a good sports movie is where you clearly know the ending and you're still on the edge of your seat. I
Yeah,
know, as I said at the top, spoiler alert, they signed Jordan. I
yeah.
knew this was going to happen, but I was on the edge of my seat about how it was going to happen. I really love that.
Yeah. I think it's just the script. It was really did a really good job of that's what I mean about not being able to put it down. It really was a gripping story. And sometimes movies can do that. We all know the boat sinks in Titanic, but um, we all we all sat all the way through that one too.
Well,
I
I
think
was
if
gonna
it's if
go.
it's
I was gonna go like we knew they win the Miracle on Ice in Miracle. I was
sure.
you know what I mean. But I was on the edge of my seat to see how that was actually going to play out.
Yeah, and I think, and look, I mean, that was the other side to this was Ben went down and sat with MJ because we really needed his blessing. Like if he said, "Look, guys, don't touch this, please," we wouldn't have done the movie. I mean, and but his the direction that he gave us, which is kind of amazing, coming out of that meeting were a few things. He said George Raveling was the first person he heard about Nike from and was in his ear about it, and Howard White, who and neither of those characters were in the script that we read.
Huh.
And then the final thing that he said was he talked really, Ben was really moved by the way he talked about his mother and how what an impact and what a powerful force she was in his life and through this time and what a heady thing to be 21 years old and trying to negotiate. I mean, it's just imagine what a lot of these athletes have to contend with. They're making these really consequential decisions about the rest of their lives. And Michael said to Ben at one point, hey, he goes, I would have done the whole thing for the car, because in the movie, there's this thing, he wants a red Mercedes and his mother just knows better. She goes like, I'll make it different. The Mercedes, it's going to be forgotten next year, but what we need is this, so it just becomes this incredible story about his mother. And it was in that meeting that Ben asked him, who, if I could, if you could choose who to play your mother. And before he finished the sentence, Michael said Viola Davis.
You did.
So Ben called me. He goes, yeah. So Michael really gave us not Ben came out of that meeting going, okay, I got great news and I got bad news. I go, okay, well, give me the great news. He goes, I know exactly what the movie is and what to do. He goes, I'm going to call Chris Tucker because we wanted to work with Chris forever.
Okay.
And Chris is we're going to bring him on. Chris is also a great writer, so he can help us build this character. And he goes, I said, what's the bad news? He said, we got to get Viola Davis or we can't make the movie. And I was like, you got to get Viola Davis, dude. That's like saying you want Michael Jordan on your basketball team. You know what I mean? Like, she's an American treasure. But so that was really, we spent about a month, I guess, just rewriting and working on the screenplay and really trying to, we had done that before with Good Will Hunting. We really wrote a part that we knew we couldn't get the movie made without a movie star. And so that Robin Williams part, we used to call it the Harvey Keitel part because in Reservoir Dogs, we had heard very famously that movie got made because Harvey Keitel said yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we said, we need a Harvey Keitel part because we need somebody to get this movie greenlit because they're not going to do it for us. And so it kind of was back to the drawing board for us. It's like, all right, we gotta make a character that's worthy of, our country's best actress. And so that was what we kind of said about doing. And thankfully she said yes. And she's obviously incredible in the movie.
So did Ben or did you tell her you were the handpicked choice of Michael Jordan to play his mother? Was she aware of that?
I think Ben told her that. She says she doesn't remember that because I think she blocked it out. She said it was too much responsibility. Yeah.
That's Viola Davis. Too much response. That is amazing.
I know. It's like she's so brilliant in the movie too, and she's just great and just great to work with. And and actually we had this wonderful thing, which was her husband Julius Tenen is a great actor, and
mm-hmm.
They're big heavy. They produced The Woman King together. They're kind of they're Hollywood heavy hitters. They're royalty. But Ben cast Julius as James as Dolores's husband, Michael's father, James, and he said, "You're not going to believe this." He goes, "Not only is Julius the best actor for the part," he goes, "because they're married, no matter what they show up with that day, it's going to be right." He's like, if they're in the middle of a fight, if they're in the, you know what I mean? It's like, if he didn't take the trash out that morning, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
it's going to be, there's so much, and they're able to just, you feel them as a couple in the movie. It's really pretty great.
You know, and it's pretty cool, Matt, too, that you see this movie and it's kind of perfectly timed. I know I'm changing sports here, but the whole conversation about Lamar Jackson right now is that his mother is his agent, and the way it's portrayed, you know, in the sports media, it's kind of like, you know, Will Ferrell in the basement screaming for the meatloaf, you know, in in Wedding Crashers.
Right,
But
right.
you see here though that Michael's mother makes one of the most key sports decisions in this film, or sports business decisions in this film, of, you know, the latter part of the 20th century. And I don't think
Yeah.
I'm overstating it
I,
right here.
I don't think you can overstate it, you know, and she understood what her son's value was. And look, I mean, I think it's a very unsung role in a lot of these athletes' lives are the mothers. In fact, the original ending of the movie, Ben had over the credits, you know, there, I don't want to give too much away. There
Yeah.
is, you know, you see MJ, you know, in all his brilliance in the towards the end of the movie and all the footage that we've all seen. But you see a speech of his over the credits. But Ben had originally he had found, when we were researching, so many speeches of these athletes when they're given an award, they start to talk about their mothers,
Oh,
and
of
it was
course.
one after another. You know, the famous one with Kevin Durant, and
Durant.
Iverson, Dwayne Wade, all these amazing athletes who really, really kind of, you know, they put their mother in the central, you know, narrative of their lives, because they say, this is why I am here. I would never have been here without her. And so I'm glad the movie is a, you know, I think it pays homage to that central role in a lot of people's lives, a lot of athletes' lives.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.